Welcome to another live. Let me know if the audio sounds good, if the video sounds good. It's good to be here with you guys tonight. I got my nautical shirt I bought in the Bahamas, and still trying to hang on to as much of my vacation memories as I possibly can. I've got my birds and nautical theme back on my corner shelf. So everything I can to hang on to vacation. And even though I'm back and I'm back into the swing of things, most of the jet lag is wearing off. I can sleep normally. And so it is great to be back tonight. And I hope we'll have a bunch of people on tonight's live stream. I absolutely am jacked about the topic. We're even going to get a demo tonight, trying to figure out what mouse is where. So cool. So let's go through and say hi to some folks here in the chat. Let's not do that. Let's fix this first. There we go. Now we will do this. Chat on the air. Hi to Grish tonight. He says hello. Hello. DJ Ware is in the house. My granddaughter Halen is in the house. It's great to have you. TVJ is in the house. Jay, are you doing a live stream tonight? Let us know. So those of you that'd like to jump over and be on Jay's stream, you'll be able to do that. We have Juris Designs. Gary is in the house tonight. It's good to have you, Gary, tonight. And Grish says hello again. Grish likes to jump in early and then say hi, and then hours later, jump into the chat live. It's good to have you here too as well, Craig. As always, we have a great topic tonight. Pop that still image up on the screen again. SuperSource Borders. What switchers get this feature in 9.6.2? That is going to be our primary topic tonight. I'm going to share some hats that I bought on my trip, adding to my ball cap collection. We're going to talk about that tonight. Talk about what I have coming in the mail tomorrow. It's not tech, but I'm super excited about it. And we're going to talk about the audio page tonight. I have one link in the description tonight already. I'm going to add more as the evening progresses. I have the description tonight's live stream open. So I do want to give you guys some audio tools from YouTube. I don't do a lot of videos here on my channel on audio, but the audio page is pretty important. So we're going to spend a little bit of time in the control software for the ATEMs and talk about the audio page. Going to talk about some changes that have come in the new updates. So anyway, it should be a lot of fun. Bulls Promo TV is in the house from Sunshine Coast, Queensland, Australia. It's good to have you. Put a name in the chat as well so we know what to call you. Obviously, that's your channel, so go over and check out some of these new channels tonight. TVJ says, yes, he is having a live stream. It'll be live, a live demo of something, so it should be fun. So I think yours is on about 2 hours from now. I think it's 6 o'clock my time, if that's right, 9 o'clock your time. Let us know, Jay, what time your live stream is. Front row, Grish is got it again. AES 67 audio over IP is one thing I hope to demo tonight. That's really cool. So I will try to get over there. It's TVJ's live stream or Curse of Oak Island. I can watch this anytime. I can watch this anytime. Oh, you got to entice me, and that will entice me just a little bit. It's good to have you here. Akil, and hello from Kyle in Germany. It's great to have you. 9 p.m. is when Jay's stream's going to be. And again, it's great to have people from Germany, Australia. Jay, I think you're in South Carolina. Is that right? I can't remember. South or North Carolina. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Anyway, yeah, if you did not put where you're from in the chat tonight, like what state and city, that would be cool. We are spread all over. We have different countries. We have different states in the United States. And being one of the guys that got a chance to get out of the United States for a while and go down to the Caribbean, I had a really good time. So while we're waiting for some more people to jump on, let's do it. I got the shirt on from the trip. Now, prior to this trip, I've been wearing, this is one of my favorite hats. I've had this for years and years. It's a Ford hat. It's got an embroidered Ford logo. It's camouflage. So I probably wore this hat more than any other hat. You guys don't see me with hats in the live stream, but this is one of my all-time favorite hats, and they get pretty stained underneath. And then this kind of is one I probably wore the most recently. It's a Texas hat. My mom and my grandmother are from Texas. My wife bought me this hat a while ago. We were talking about our history and our roots, and so she kind of threw this hat into my life. So I've been wearing it a lot. It reminds me of my mom and my grandmother, both gone. And so, you know, it's just a reminder of my roots. So part of me is from Texas. And then I'm a Seahawk fan, so I have my Seattle Seahawk hat. I'll wear this a lot on Sundays when they're playing, or Monday nights or Thursday night football. I mean, there's football almost during the season on every night of the week anymore. Thursday night, Monday night, Saturdays for playoffs, Sundays. So NFL is pretty well wanting to own our life and all our days off. But that's been my primary hats. And because this was getting so ratty, I took it on the trip. My wife says, you should probably buy some hats. So I did bring some hats home. I brought 4. Let's put these away. And so our first stop on the cruise was St. Kitts, and I found this hat. I think this is my favorite out of the 4 I bought, but I don't buy the ones that are vented. I like the cloth hats, and so I was looking for quality hats. I think on average on the cruise, I paid for these kind of hats somewhere between $17 to $21. Sometimes I could negotiate, sometimes I couldn't. Sometimes I got a hat and a shirt at the same time, and I do have a shirt somewhere that I brought back as well. So first port of call in the Caribbean was St. Kitts on our cruise, and we talked about our cruise last week, so you can go back and watch that that video. And then we stopped at St. Martin. And that is, I think it was St. Martin. Let me just double check. Yeah, St. Martin, and that's where I met the Yoda guy. So we'll put this up. There's this business card. We talked about that. The guy who made the Empire Strikes Back Yoda puppet. There was a number of puppets and other people running the puppets. He kind of rescued them in the middle of the shoot. So we talked about that last week, and I showed some slides of that museum that was in St. Martin. So that was our second stop. So I got a hat from St. Martin, and this says St. Martin on the back. So it's got embroidery on the front and back. And again, another hat. I like these colors. I like that green a lot. And then let's see. Then our last stop was St. Thomas, and I wanted something a different color. So I got the brown hat. And this was kind of a shout out. Let's just change mic so I'm on the wireless go now. So this hat was kind of a shout out to this hat. Now, I mean, obviously they're different color brown. This is very light brown, but I wanted a hat to kind of replace this one and to have some color and some pop to it. So I grabbed this hat. That was the third stop. And then I wanted to get a hat from every port, and the last port was a private island owned by the Caribbean Cruise Line and some Royal Caribbean, and so it's called Coco Cay, and they call it the perfect day at Coco Cay, and that's not that far from Florida, but it is kind of out into the Caribbean, and the weather was really nice. There's a big, beautiful island. They have the largest Caribbean freshwater swimming pool on that island. Had a walk up in the water bar, and it was really a great sight. I took some pictures from the bridge. I don't have those pictures with me tonight, but so then I grabbed this hat. Now this has got some red. It just says Bahamas. but I bought this hat at the last port. So I have a hat from every single port of call. So 4 ports on the Caribbean cruise and 4 hats. So just wanted to share with you guys my hat collection. And then I'm going to see if I have a picture of this item I have coming here. See if we can get it to pop up here. And I have this character right there coming. This is Jack Sparrow. This is going to arrive in the mail tomorrow. It is a collector's Hot Toys 1/6 scale figure. Many of you guys know that I've been messing around with a channel that's going to launch this spring or this summer called Bennett's Collectibles with my grandson Dominic. So this is going to be our 3rd figure. And I've got the Batman that's on the shelf. 2020 Batman, Robert Pattinson. We have a Miles Morales figure. We have Johnny Depp. And then we also have already paid for and purchased another alternate universe Miles Morales. And so anyway, got that figure coming. This is kind of the display he stands on. You could hook him, you could make him look like that. You can make Jack look like this. Just some different pictures here. And it's a really good likeness of Johnny Depp. So pretty cool. And so anyway, that'll arrive tomorrow. You guys can let me know in the chat if you want to see that figure next week. I'll be happy to show it with you after I unbox it. So Dominic and I will do an unboxing video, and that figure is coming tomorrow. I'm super excited because it's things I can put in on the shelf. I have clients occasionally come to my studio. I shoot videos from my studio. I like to have collecting things and different things that kind of are personal on my shelf. So Dominic has the Miles Morales 1/6 scale figure. I've got the Robert Pattinson Batman on the shelf. I show those pictures when we do the intro videos. And let's see, I think I have a video, or I have a shot of him on the shelf right here. Let me do this, and then let me do this. So there is my, sorry, it's over my face. That's just where I have that set up. Let's see, can I do it a different way here? No, I can't really. So that's the Robert Pattinson, and again, have this new Johnny Depp figure coming to a studio near me, arriving tomorrow. So that's pretty cool. So again, even though this channel isn't about 1/6 scale collector figures, I've been talking to other people about how, what in the world? Windows keeps taking over. They want me to update to Windows 11, and it keeps taking over one of my computers. I'm still running Windows 10. So anyway, let's see who else has come in the chat. Let's fix the chat back here. Well, I was close. Jay is from Ohio. Anything different in this week's audio? What do you hear different? I did mess with the audio. It's a little hotter this week. Let me go back to this microphone. I was just on the Wireless Go microphone. Now I'm back on the SM7B. So, when I have to move around, this microphone loses me. So I like to switch to the other one. But what do you hear different, Grish? And then we'll go from there. Bulls Promo TV, Wayne Netter. It's good to have you, Wayne. Let us know where you are from as well. We are stopping at that private island in August. Yeah, that's going to be a blast. So hopefully Jay, you'll let us know. Maybe you'll talk about your cruise on your channel and remind me in August when you're doing that so I don't miss that. But I'd love to talk to you about your guys' cruise as well. Yeah, the audio is a little hotter and I have a little bit more aggressive noise gate. So yeah, good ears, Grish. So we're going to talk about the audio page a little bit later, but our main topic tonight, let me do this. Hi, Chio. It's good to see you. ATEM soon. So then I will try SuperSource. Well, we'll talk about the ATEM and we'll talk about the new update and we'll talk about what switchers this new feature is available for you to check out. Juris Designs is Gary. You have till October for support and free upgrades to Windows 11. Yeah, I am going to update my computer, my wife's computer, my other computer to Windows 11. Probably I kind of have that plan in April, maybe late April. So I understand it's free updates and I do want to get updated to that. So thanks for that update. Jay likes the hotter audio. So easier for him to hear on his cell phone. Yeah, I'm really kind of pushing almost into the red tonight. So, and I'm a little bit more animated, a little bit more energy. I had a lot of jet lag last Tuesday when I was here live with you. So, yeah, Grish, I would say the SM7B because it's a dynamic microphone. It's directional. It's really good for like podcast audio for live streams. If you're going to be stationary, it really drops off pretty quickly when you get around the outsides of it. And if you get behind it, you can hear what it hears. So it's a very directional microphone where my lav microphone is omnidirectional. So it's going to pick up other noises in the studio as well as my voice. So good to have you in the live stream tonight or on the live stream with me tonight, Doug. Do you also use MixEffect? Yeah, absolutely. I do. MixEffect is right here on my iPad. So here is MixEffect open. If you guys don't know anything about MixEffect, I had the honor in the beginning of this app to have Adam Tao on my channel. You can go check out that video. I think I have a MixEffect playlist here on my channel. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And obviously, if you haven't hit the like button tonight, please do that. I think this is one of those videos that we need to get out there because I couldn't find a single video today and yesterday when I was doing research on this new feature that we're going to talk about here in just a few minutes. So MixEffect is an app that runs the ATEM. Adam Tao is the designer. He's from the Bay Area in San Francisco. He's a great guy. I was texting back and forth with him today, asking him some questions about MixEffect and how it will feature this new feature available from Blackmagic Design for the ATEMs. And we'll talk about, again, what switchers that new feature is working on. I have a demo tonight that was provided to me from one of our normal guests on the live stream, and I'll talk about that and shout out to that guest in a little bit. And I'll play that video from you. You guys will be time warped earlier today into his studio. And he's going to do a demo of one of the features that I'm going to talk about tonight. So MixEffect lets you run the app wirelessly. This is hooked up to my network. So it can then, I can take it anywhere and I can run my switcher from it. And it's mainly just designed to run the ATEMs, and it runs all the switchers. And again, so if you have SuperSource, it'll give you a SuperSource screen. So here's the SuperSource screen right here. So I have different SuperSource layouts. I can change what's in the boxes. And our special video guest tonight said that he does all his SuperSource layouts on this app. Again, this is MixEffect. It costs about $50 for the MixEffect Pro version, and that gives you the ability to control your ATEMs. And so you can switch between ATEMs if you have more than one. Again, this is not sponsored by Adam Tao or MixEffect, but I do use this app and I absolutely love it. And if I got more views on my channel when I did stuff on MixEffect. I would probably do more on the app. I absolutely love it, but doesn't seem to be a real popular conversation here on the channel, though I do want to talk about some of the changes in the app and some of the things you can do. And that brings me up to the other thing I wanted to talk about tonight. So hopefully that answers your question. But we have a new iPad in the studio. This is the new M4 Pro, iPad Pro, and maxed out. This does not belong to me. It belongs to my wife. She inherited this when her mother passed. Her mother had just purchased this. And so we are going to get it on our account, and we're going to put MixEffect on this as well. And she said I can use it for my live streams. Plus, I'm going to put the remote app for my Studio Live 32 console on here as well. We're going to be using this as some of our live events, but it's not mine, it's hers. But she's been really gracious to let me use it. So I'm also going to demo a new feature that's available through MixEffect here in the number of weeks coming up. So that's why I have it out and in my studio, so I can get everything set up so we can play around with one of the really cool new features in MixEffect. So there's some of the side things I wanted to talk about tonight. Continuing to build my Batman collection. Let's do this. Let me run over here real quick. And then we'll dive into the 9.6.2 update. But I got the new Joker. And to add to my collection, I don't take these out. And I got the new Hot Toys Clock King. Came in the mail yesterday. And so these are being added to my collection. I don't get all of these, but these came out by McFarlane. It says McFarlane Toys right there on the back. And they've been doing these retro 1966 Batman series figures, and I've been collecting them. And that's going to be on my channel with Dominic, again, called Bennett's Collectibles. So we're going to talk about those. My wife and I are going to, later this year, build a 1966 Batcave, believe it or not. I don't know what scale yet. We don't know where we can put it when it's done, but it's a project her and I have been talking about for a long time. So she's been doing dollhouse construction, and she's confident now that we could do a really, really high-tech, with lights, cool Batcave, 1966 Batcave from the series. So I've been collecting photographs from every angle, other designs. In fact, there's a little $800 to $900 version about Yo Big that you can get. I may get that to be my small scale model. So they did a lot of research to get it right. So anyway, that's going to be coming up hopefully in 2025. And again, that will probably all be on my other channel. But anytime you guys are curious or you have questions about it, I do want to bust some stuff out, at least keep you guys up to date with what's happening. So back to my SM7B. See how you are wireless? Is there a hack to also see the previews? To see how you are wireless, is there a hack to also... I guess I don't quite understand that question, so you may have to put it back in the chat. So we've said hi to everybody. I think everybody's arrived. Sorry, it's almost been 25 minutes since we got live, but let's talk about this still image here. SuperSource Borders. What switchers get this new feature in 9.6.2, the new firmware update? And I am sorry to say, and I am personally sorry to say, in fact, if you look at the still image, you can see the little caption above my face. I am so jealous. And I am jealous because this feature is not these new borders for SuperSource. They are not available in the ATEM Extreme, Extreme ISO, SDI ISO. They're not, SuperSource isn't available all in the ATEM Mini, Mini Pro ISO, Mini SDI ISO. So this border for extremes is not going to be available for me, so I'm super jealous. And I didn't even see any videos online about this. This is how I discovered this. I just released, let me pop this on the screen here. Get macros out of my way. I just released part 2 of my ATEM Mini Extreme ISO Getting Started series. So I now have part 1. It's like an hour and a half long. And now I have part 2. It's even longer. And I'm popping that on the screen because I had someone comment to me. I cover in part 2 the DVEs. And if you don't know what a DVE is, let me just demo this real quick. I might as well bring this on the screen. I have one ATEM Mini Pro. It has one DVE, which is picture-in-picture. It's also used in the pattern folder in your upstream keys. So the ATEM Mini Pro ISO, Mini SDI ISO have one DVE. That's one picture-in-picture available. But if you have an Extreme ISO, Extreme SDI ISO, they have 2 DVEs, and you can put borders around those. You can put shadows behind those. You can change the colors of the borders. And so you can have a 2-window layout on the screen using your DVEs. And I cover that in the very beginning of my part 2 of the ATEM Extreme ISO Getting Started video. If you haven't watched that yet, it is a very thorough deep dive into the ATEM Extreme ISO. It also applies to the Extreme. Only difference between the Extreme and the SDI ISO from the Extreme ISO is the Extreme does not record all the different inputs where the ISO models do. And the ATEM Extreme and ATEM Extreme ISO, they have HDMI inputs on the back and 2 HDMI outs. But if you buy the Extreme SDI ISO, you have 8 SDI inputs on the back, and that makes room for Blackmagic Design to give you 4 SDI outs. That's right, you have 4 SDI outs. So you could have program on one, multi-view on one, camera 1 on one, camera 2 on one. And so literally, or you could use them at a church and send one to the screen in the lobby, send the other one to the screen in the back of the building, and you could put separate things on those screens. And then you could have one for multi-view and then one still for program, or 2 for multi-view, however you want to lay it out. But those devices did not get this particular new feature, which is, drum roll please, SuperSource Borders. And so back to this layout real quick. I was just going to say in the SuperSource layout I'm in right now, you can see I have no borders around this, and I can't put any borders, but I can bring DVEs on the air. So this is a DVE right here. And if I go over here and fix this, so it's got my Batman shelf on it, there you go. I have a border on it. I can change the color of that border to yellow if I wanted to. Oh, that's an ugly yellow. Let's find a regular yellow here. So I can change that to yellow. I can increase the border size. That's the outside inner width of the border. I can change the opacity of the border. I can add a shadow in the back, and I can change the angle of that shadow and the altitude, turn that off. I could mask this, and so I could mask the top, mask the sides, turn mask off, and I can also fly this around the screen. I can fly it to full, can fly it to point A, I can fly it to point B, whatever those are. So I have intuitive control over that, so it can have a border. And we'll change this border back to a red, so it's easier for you to see. and then we better add some border to it. And I can then move this around the screen, size it, but I could also put another one on the screen, and that is one right here that I have cropped. So that's key number 2, and I can bring that around the screen. I can use that to show just that part of my control software, and I used that in my video, the ATEM EXTREME ISO getting started video number 2. So you have 2 DVEs, and I can put a border around that as well. But I cannot put borders in SuperSource. So right now we'll look at SuperSource, and it does not have an option for borders. I can change the boxes. I can crop the boxes. I can go into the art page, and you can see right here the border section, which is part of what happens when you update your firmware with some of the new firmware updates. I cannot enable borders. It is not available on the Extreme. So if it's not available on the Extremes, then how do you get this feature, and what is it available on? And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. But I'm going to take a sip of my nice cold drink before we dive in. So using MixEffect, we change back to this view. Let me bring up Blackmagic's website, switch back to this view, and here's what it says. This is 9.6.2 update. Now, when there is a software control update at Blackmagic Design, I'll close this. Where do you find it? You come into their homepage. Let's just go there again. I'll click on Blackmagic Design. This page comes up. If you click on products, you'll just get the different products up here. And below it, there's descriptions and pictures of different products. That's under the products menu up here on the top. Hope you guys can see that. Then you have resellers, then support. And under support, if you click on that, then you get a different menu below the different items. So these are the ATEMs. So if I click on the ATEMs, here is the software. And you can see that they actually have a 9.6.3 update that came out on December 10th. On December 10th as well, they came out with the Switcher SDK. That's for writing code. Adam Tao uses that, I believe. He also gets copies of the betas from Blackmagic Design so he can work on MixEffect. But on September 26th of 2024, there's this 9.6.2 update. So if you click on this little read more icon right here, if you want to download the Mac version, it's right here. If you want to download the Windows version, it's right here. Excuse me. That went down the wrong pipe. Try something warm. So we click on this little read more icon, and then this screen comes up. So let's read what it says. It says the software allows you to update your ATEM switcher and ATEM hardware control panels. Plus, it includes the ATEM software control application. So when there's a firmware update, it's built inside the download. So you have one step to uninstall your current software control, another step, reboot, then you install the new version of the software control, reboot, then you're going to go down in your software, up under File, click on Connections. Under Connections, you're going to pick the device. So let's just pick my ATEM Mini Pro right here. You're going to click on ATEM Setup. And then this screen comes up, which shows all my ATEMs, so I can scroll through them. But if there was a firmware update, it would show up when I click this left circle. So if I click that, it's going to give me a firmware warning. and I would update it from right there. That's the same for all of their devices. So whatever device you have, this is where you go to update the firmware. You're going to get an alert when you click on this icon right here. This is my second Extreme ISO. And so you would get an alert right here. I'm currently running version 9.5.1 because this firmware that's available now does not apply to my ATEMs. It only applies to the ones we're going to look at right now. So let me close this and close this. And then let's go back to this, back here, and back here. So the following models have new features. So let's look at what those features are first. They're right below the ATEM 1ME. Adds audio output mapping. So there's new audio mapping features. And then adds support for Visca over IP. Adds SuperSource Borders. So the devices that have SuperSource Borders are the ATEM 4ME, the ATEM 2ME, the ATEM 1ME Constellation, the ATEM 4ME Constellation 4K, because you can see under that list right here, it says add SuperSource Borders, the ATEM 2ME Constellation 4K, and the ATEM 1ME Constellation 4K. And then the ATEM Constellation 8K adds support for Visca over IP, adds support for 30 and 60 frames format, but it doesn't look like the 8K, which is an older console, gets the update either. So here's my question, okay? Those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 updates are available for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the devices that Blackmagic made, but it's not available for the ATEM Mini, the smaller ones with 4 inputs, or the larger extreme ISOs with 8 inputs and a number of different outputs. So it's frustrating that I don't have the ability, because I do not have a 1ME or a 2ME or 4ME. I don't have the 4K versions in my studio either. I've thought about getting the ATEM 2ME Constellation 4K. So let's just look at that real quick, and let's talk about the cost of that. So get my mouse to work today. Let's go back to products. Let's go back to these consoles. So the ATEM 4ME Constellation 4K, the HD model is $3,695. But if I bought this 4ME, it would cost me $8,000. If I bought the 2ME 4K, it would cost me $3,795. But this ATEM 2ME is only $1,695 now. That's not that much more than an Extreme ISO. But again, it does no ISO recording. It doesn't stream. It doesn't encode. You're going to have to come out of it and go through a web presenter. HD, if you're going to only do buy one of the HD models, or you're going to have to go to an HD or a 4K web presenter if you're going to do 4K models. But you would get SuperSource Borders. So you can understand why I haven't updated. I have 2 Extreme ISOs in my studio. And I think I even have a picture of that. Let's just do this. And again, this is for people that have not been on my channel. Let me fire this up. Make a quick change here in my software control. I will come back to that. I have 2 Extreme ISOs in my studio. I want to dive in to the demo of this new software. Let me go in here real quick and see. Let me change this real quick. DJ Ware says, coming up on 4 years from the ATEM Extreme ISO, maybe there's something in the works. Yeah, I'm hoping there is, because I am super jealous. I don't know why it would be so important for me to be able to do a SuperSource layout like this with borders, but it does separate it from the background. I like the idea of borders. I really enjoy using DVE layouts because, again, you have 2 DVEs. So you could do a layout like this, and I demo that in my new Extreme ISO Getting Started video, part 2, because you can put borders around the 2 pictures in pictures. And so you could just put the background that I have in SuperSource. It's in Media Player 2, and I can show you guys that here. I'm having trouble finding my mouse today. There it is. So you can see I have this in my Media Player 2. So instead of having SuperSource on, which I have on right here, I could then go, let's go to this DVE real quick, and I'll put me in it. So I'll put me in that. So then I could turn SuperSource off and then just put Media Player 2 in the background right up here. So right now you can see I have SuperSource. I can put camera 2 in the background. Now I'm on here twice. Or I can just put Media Player 2 in the background. And now I have this DVE with a border on it, which I could crop and move around the screen. And I could have that one on. And then I could also have the other one on. And instead of having DVE2 cropped, you could turn the mask off, and I could change that to my other camera, shrink this all the way down and bring it over. And I could have a 2-camera layout with borders and shadows. And again, I'm not going to spend too much time adjusting these. We'll go back to number 3 and put it back on my desktop because that's how I display chat. So I don't want to mess that up. And so again, we'll turn those off the air, go back to SuperSource, put me back the air. So I could make that Media Player 2 in the background, and I could put 2 boxes. So I could do this layout right here using the DVEs and be able to have borders around them. But when you go to multiple boxes in SuperSource, so if I went into SuperSource and I bring box 3 on the air, and let's put something legit in box 3, let's put that camera in it, shrink that box down. And again, you can see how they layer over each other. So box 3 is covered by box 1 and 2. But I could bring that box on the air and put it there, and I can't do borders. I can't change it. I can't fix it. I don't have that feature. I cannot put borders and size them around SuperSource, and I could have all 4 boxes on the air. I'll bring box 4 on the air. And again, it has my multi-view in it. So we will bring that up here, and I can bring multi-view in because I have it coming out of ATEM Extreme ISO number 1, going into number 2, and then coming back in to one of my inputs on my ATEM Extreme ISO number 1. So I can bring multi-view into my SuperSource that way, so I can teach people and show people how to use it and what changes on the multi-view. So if you have a 1ME or a 2ME, you can now put borders around these, and I have a demo. I want to say a quick thank you. Let's go back to this view right here. I want to say a quick thank you tonight. Where is that slide? There it is. Let's drop it in here. I want to say a quick thank you to Tony from Quik Tech Solutions. Tony actually produced a video for us tonight. dropped it in my Google Drive, shared it with me so that I can cut to this video right now. And so I'm going to let Tony, who has a 2ME in his studio, I'm going to let Tony show you the features of this new border. And so it's a few minute video. So thank you so much, Tony from Quik Tech Solutions. Let's cut to this video, and hopefully audio and everything will work. Let me find the macro, and here we go.
Hey everybody, my name is Tony from Quik Tech Solutions. Keith, I know I can't be there live for you tonight, and you're talking about that recent feature that was added to the ATEM 2ME and other ATEM switchers that allows you to put borders around your SuperSource boxes. So if you're looking at the screen now, you can see I have a SuperSource up on the screen with a backdrop and 2 boxes and no borders around. And this is the way it's been for the time being. But as of software control version 9.6.2, which I am running, as you can see here, and firmware update for the 2ME brought that up to 9.6.2 as well. All of a sudden now I have the option under the SuperSource panel. If I go to artwork, this feature here is now available, whereas before I ran the firmware update on the actual device itself, this was grayed out even though I was running software control 9.6.2. So you have to have both up to date in order for this feature to be available. Now you'll see as soon as I turn it on, borders will appear around the 2 boxes as you see there. You can change the color. The controls right now are minimal. As you can see, you can basically change the color, change the outer width of the border, and the inner width of the border. So, for example, to change a color, you click on the color sample, and then you can basically pick yellow if you want. I know, Keith, that's your favorite color as far as your channel is concerned. You can pick red. So it's that simple. You could even pick a custom color if you come into the color wheel, but we're going to just stick with the white for now, and then we can take the outer width down, we can take the inner width down. You can see now, even though the feature's enabled, we're down to no border. So if I increase it slightly, you can see the borders starting to come back. It defaults to 0.40 for outer width and 0.40 for inner width, and these are preferences that you can set based on your own needs. The neat thing about this is I like to create my SuperSource layouts in MixEffect because I find it much easier to do that than to try to work and manipulate the software control when it comes to layouts. And the nice thing about it is any of the SuperSource layouts that you create on MixEffect, this works across the board, even with the MixEffect animations, as you'll see here. So there you go. So in any event, that's the recently added border feature. I'm sure more of the features will hopefully become available with future software updates and firmware updates. So that's it for now, Keith. I hope this helps out, and I look forward to checking out the stream tomorrow on demand. Take care, everyone.
There's the information on how to check out Tony's channel. So if you haven't subscribed to Tony's channel, please go over and subscribe. I think it's so cool. I met Tony here on the live streams, and we have shared information back and forth. We have each other's phone numbers now. I have his email, and I think it's so cool that I was able to reach out to one of my friends from our channel that had a 2ME, because Tony updated about a year ago, I think now, in order to produce his sports show that he's doing, Schwartz Talk Sports, and he's put links in the descriptions in the past. So if you go over to his channel, message him, and that'll get you to that sports channel. And a lot of sports people talk on that show. It's really cool. I've watched it. But Tony took the time today to go up to his studio in his bonus room. He recorded this quick demo, and when we started talking, he said it was grayed out, and I said, have you done the firmware update yet? And Tony said no, so he started updating this firmware. I was also communicating to ATEM. I also have developed a relationship with ATEM, the designer of MixEffect, and so Adam was saying that it is available, it is working in MixEffect. that he is working on a beta version right now. I don't know if that means it's going to come to other devices. I didn't ask him that. That's all confidential anyway. If he has access to any beta software from Blackmagic Design, I don't think he has the ability to share that or even update the MixEffect app until that stuff goes live. And so now there is 9.6.3. And I know there's some comments here in the chat. Let me just address those here before I go any further. But thank you so much, Tony, for helping us out with that. Yeah, so Jura says, drop in the bucket 8K. Watch the check bounce and never come down. Buy 2 and send 1 to me. Yeah, that would be really cool, DJ Ware. By the way, go over and check out DJ Ware's channel. He is in the now on security, communication between HTTP sites. So that's the guy. Go over to his channel. Juris smiles back. Chris says, never thought Tony Cam would graduate to a media player. Yeah, Tony, and I fondly call this the Tony Cam, camera 3 here. I don't have the light set up for camera 3, but it's a long story why I call this the Tony Cam. But Tony has done so many favors for me. Like today, I told him, I don't want to wait a week. We talked about having him on the live stream. So if it works out, we may have Tony next week. We'll see. So he would be there able to do live demos. He only showed a 2-box layout, but he assured me it works with all 4 boxes. Again, he was in the middle of his regular schedule, ran upstairs and recorded that short video for me. So I am super appreciative. Awesome video and specifically made for Keith's channel. Yeah, Tony did a great job. Tony has a great channel. He's been doing videos a long time. He's like one of my mentors when it comes to having a channel, staying on your course, being who you are. And so I absolutely am so blessed to have some of these new relationships, developing a relationship over time now with Jay and some of the other people that are on the channel. And usually Hank is here. He used to be in broadcasting years and years ago with Peter Jennings. I don't see Hank in the chat. That's very uncommon. I hope that he's doing okay because he's here almost every week. Hank says all the time he's the oldest guy that attends my live streams. So let's say a prayer for Hank because usually Hank is here. But I love developing these relationships. I also do a free 1-hour Zoom consult. The reason I do that is, but my business, the business that I spend most of my time is consulting, helping people with their channels, helping people with their studios, helping people with the ATEMs, the ATEM Mini, Pro, ISO, the Extremes, and really helping them understand how to make files, how to use the media players, the DVEs, all of that, as well as audio. I was an audio engineer. Basically, I still am. I had my own recording studio. I did mixing, mastering, recording, everything from setting up microphones to mixing it down and putting it on a CD and sending it out. I don't have a studio anymore. I do all my audio or any voiceover here in my studio now. My passion is the technology, live streaming, all of the things that you can do now in a studio. You could be on Zoom. You can join other people's channels. I do mentoring for people. I even talk about how to build a YouTube channel, how to do a podcast, and what devices to get for a podcast, what kind of microphones to get, what if depending on what their budget is. So I find it a great joy to not only get a chance to do consulting and meet people that way, but through this live stream, I've met people and developed relationships, and that is super special. And Tony, I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. And I just want to promote that one more time and get that on the screen here. So this is how you find Tony. It's youtube.com/@Quik Tech Solutions. So go over and check Tony's channel. That's a still image right from his channel. And again, you can see how many subscribers Tony has. I'm looking right here. Does it say? Yeah, he's got 23,500 subscribers. He's got 523 videos on his channel. So he has a lot more subscribers than I have, but he doesn't have more videos than me. So let me see what my video count is right now. Let's go to the channel, homepage, view channel. Yeah, I guess he does. I thought I had more videos than that. I'll just show you. I have 370, so I guess if I want to grow my channel to the same level as Tony, I'm going to have to figure out how to get the same amount of videos as he has, and he has 523. I don't know why I thought I had more, but I stand corrected. Slap on the hand for misstepping there. So again, I'm so jealous. I wish I had the ability in the ATEM Extreme to put borders around SuperSource. That right-hand still image where I say I'm so jealous, that's actually a picture of my SuperSource today. I laid it out right here in the studio. I put those borders around it inside Adobe Illustrator. So I cannot do SuperSource with borders because I only have an ATEM Mini Pro in my studio, an ATEM Mini Extreme ISO 1, and an ATEM Mini Extreme ISO number 2. And I have those two devices so I can combine them. And I have videos on how I did that here on the channel. It's not the same as buying a 2ME. A 2ME is 1ME doubled. And you can see in Tony's software again. Let me just get that queued here. Let me scroll back. How do I do the search? If I just bring up this video stopped right here, let's see. Let's go to this layout and let me change what is in SuperSource box 2. Instead of laptop, let me put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Sure, I'm sure.
So you can see that's what the software looks like when you have a 2ME. So basically, it's like a ATEM version 1 and version 2. And you can also see how many inputs Tony has. He's got, look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 inputs on ME1 and 20 inputs on ME2. And that's not counting the internal inputs. You can see those internal inputs right up on the top row to the right. I call that section 2 in my training videos. So the inputs on the back of the console, I call section 1. And that's that first section. And then the ones to the right of that, I call section 2. And those are internal. So that's like the color black, the SuperSource, the Media Player 1, Media Player 2. And you can see that he's got Media Player 2 live right now. That's his background. And he's using SuperSource on top of that background. So his MP Player 2 is live. And he's also got in his Media Player 2 SuperSource live. So he's using both of his MEs at the same time. He's using background from that ME and he's using SuperSource from that ME at the same time. So he's combining those. And the only way I can do that is by having my 2 HDMI outs of number 2 come in to 2 inputs in my number 1 ATEM. So that's what it looks like if you have the control software like Tony does. Let me go back into box 2 and go back to my laptop. And this is what it looks like if you have 1 ATEM Extreme ISO, and I only have 8 inputs over there. So you get a lot more inputs when you get a 1ME or a 2ME. And again, there's lots of reasons why you could update and it would make sense. And there's also, in my opinion, change me SuperSource in the back, or multi-view in the background. There's lots of reasons not to. Again, because of all of the things it does not have available. So let's just bust back here to Blackmagic's site and just say a couple more things. And then we're just going to chat here a bit and then look at the audio page before it gets too late. Let's go back to this readout. So if you go back a couple updates, let's go back to 9.5.1. And let's read the updates here. In 9.5.1, the ATEM Mini Pro, Pro ISO, Extreme, Extreme ISO, ATEM SDI Pro ISO, and the ATEM SDI Extreme ISO. Those are the SDI models in the background. Again, if you have the ATEM SDI Pro, you have 2 SDI outputs. And if you get the Extreme SDI, you get 4 SDI outputs, where the Pro and the Pro ISO only have 1 HDMI out. That means you have to choose between multi-view or SuperSource. But you can see that they added fixes issues that could cause losses. Let's see, this is not the version. Let's go back here. That's 9.5.1. Let's go back to 9.5. And you can see they added webcam output USB routing. So if you have an ATEM Mini Pro or you have an ATEM Mini Pro ISO, you now have 3 different things that you can output out of the USB-C. And if you have an Extreme or Extreme ISO, or even the Extreme SDI ISO, then you have all the outputs that you can send out of your USB-C. So we're going to talk about that in an episode coming up live, because that makes some differences of what's available to do in MixEffect. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to fire up the new iPad Pro, and we're going to look at what you can do in MixEffect now using some of these updates in MixEffect and some of these updates that are going on inside the ATEM. So lots of updates back then, but not so much with this 9.6.2 update. In fact, I am actually running 9.6.3, and let's look what they changed in 9.6.3. So the ATEM 1ME, the ATEM 1ME Advanced panel, all of these advanced panels, this software allows you to update the ATEM, add users interfaces for controlling compatible Blackmagic design cameras, increases user profiles from 10 to 100, general performance and stability issues. So they added some basic features in 9.6.3, and I'll show you guys here. If you click up here under Help and About, it tells you what version you're running, 9.6.3. But if I go up here into my ATEMs, by the way, here in that HDMI output, you can see all the outputs that I have available. So I usually use program out for Zoom coming out of my Extreme ISO #1. But now, instead of sending just the program out, I can send all of these different outputs. I could even send multi-view if I wanted to. I could send my HyperDeck out to Zoom if I wanted to, directly from this interface from my USB-C. And if I go up here real quick and connect to my ATEM Mini Pro, you're going to see the software layout change. This is what it looks like on an ATEM Mini Pro. If I go to outputs, I only have 1 output. If I had a SDI model, I would have 2, saying outputs. But the webcam output gives me multi-view, program, and preview out now. So you don't get all 8 outputs. You don't get a lot of the other outputs that you get, or 4 outputs. You don't get all the other outputs that you do on the Extreme models, but you do get 3 now out of your USB-C port. Remember, the ATEM Mini Pro, Pro ISO, Pro SDI ISO only have 1 USB-C out, Where if you buy an Extreme, it has two. So one could be your drive for recording, and I'm recording tonight to a drive, and the other one could go into your computer, and I have my ATEM Extreme ISO #1 coming into my computer. And remember, I have my Extreme ISO #2, so I could be sending it out to another drive, and I could be sending it out to another computer if I wanted to. So I could have my #2 Extreme ISO going to my PC, while my Extreme ISO #1 goes to my laptop. Now, I haven't done that yet, but there would be some other things that I would be able to do, especially if I route my program out from my Extreme ISO #1 back into my Extreme ISO #2, that I could be using my PC to go live on Facebook, and I could be using my laptop to go live on YouTube and not have to pay for any special software or any other tools, because I could be using the USB-C outs. Now, the USB-C's outs, they're better, but they're a little over contrasty, and so keep that in mind. They're not as good as what you're seeing right now. If you go out of OBS using that USB-C out, you're not going to get as good a picture as we're getting right now live. So, okay. So I got to share this. I'll look back at the chat. David's here. Good to see you, David. Thank you for joining us. The Extreme ISO, Extreme, do not get SuperSource Borders, but if you have a 1ME or a 2ME and all the other listed devices on Blackmagic's webpage, you can now use SuperSource with borders, and you can enable it, change the color, change the inside transparency, or you can change the transparency, the inside size of the border, the outside size of the border. There's just a lot of things that you can do. And David, you have a Extreme ISO. Good to have you here, Tony. We showed your video. Thank you so much. It's good to have Tony back in town and back in his studio and live with me. Maybe you're on your phone, but thank you so much, Tony, for sharing your video. So if you guys have any questions for Tony right now, go ahead and ask him, because he's in the chat. It's great to have you. And I told them, Tony, there may be an outside chance that you and I will be able to do a live stream together, and you'll be able to do a live demo. So I got to say, Tony, I'm a little jealous that you have that incredible tool and all the inputs in your 1ME and your 2ME. And I even showed them a picture of your software page that you had up in the video. This shot, where is it? Right here. I have auto roll on. Let me turn it off real quick. Let me cut to this shot. So I showed him your 2ME software. Let's take chat off the air real quick. And you can clearly see that Tony has a lot more inputs, and he has a lot more things that he can do with his software control than I can with my little baby ATEMs. So again, that is the software control for, I was going to change this in my Extreme ISO #2. Let me log into this real quick. I'm going to go to output #2. I got it on multi-view, and I think I want this. 1, 2, 3. I want this to be output #3. There we go. And that lets me go to my mobile cam. So let's go mobile cam, box 2. We're going to go to, what is it? Change software here again. Stand by. Got to go back to my Extreme ISO #1. Wish I could have that software open at the same time. I don't have it open on my PC, which is one way to do that. Let me go into box 2 and go to Extreme out #2. So there you go. So you can see I have my ATEM Mini Pro, and I have my Extreme #1 and my Extreme #2. And I have these guys so that I can do training. So when I'm recording in a video, or if I'm live, there's a lot of things I can't do or I can't demo, but I can log into my Extreme #2 right there, it's not live. It's not recording. You can see that one's recording right up there on the right. This one is not recording right up there on the right. So I can show things when I'm live because I have two that I can't do if I only show this one. So a lot of times when I'm recording my videos, I'll go over and do a lot of demoing from this extreme right here and not from this one, because this one I'm live. And if I try to create a macro, it's really difficult because when I create that macro, I got to change what you guys are seeing. But I can put that one in SuperSource and create macros, and I don't have that problem. So we'll go back to that view and then back to that view. So here's my pet peeve, and then we're going to move on to the audio page. And go ahead and please ask Tony any questions that you like to ask him about what he learned today. And he's only played with it today. So again, it's not like he's had a big, long chance to do that. But here's my pet peeve. Where are the videos about borders in the control software for the 1ME and the 2ME? I can't hardly find any videos live on YouTube. This will be one of the few videos that people want to find out more about that feature that they're going to find. And I told Tony, I feel obligated to get a video out on this new feature. It's been available since December, right? That was last year, the last month of last year. Many people updated to 9.6.2, but they didn't do a firmware. And if they have a 2ME or a 1ME, they don't even know they have this border feature. So very few videos out there. I don't know if that's a reflection of very few people own 1MEs and 2MEs. Blackmagic Design came out with all those devices. I mean, you're talking about a lot of devices right now that you could purchase with this feature. All of those devices, and I'm pretty sure all the MEs have it except for the 8K, which has been around for a long time, $11,245 or $45. But you can get a 2ME for the HD model for $1,695, and you could have that feature, and you could have just as many inputs as Tony has in his video. Again, remember, they're SDI in the back, so you're going to have to convert your cameras. If your camera is HDMI, you have to convert it using a converter to bring it into compliance with the SDIs in the back. So you're going to go from HDMI out of your camera to a converter that converts from HDMI to SDI, and they sell them SDI to HDMI, HDMI to SDI, and they do a bi-directional converter at Blackmagic Design as well. And those are $60, $70 or so, depending on which one you get. If you get it with a power supply, or if you're just going to power it over USB-C, which is what they all have now. The older versions had the older USB cable input, but now they all have a USB-C cable input, and the converters do need power to do the conversion. So you are going to have converters. Tony, I don't know how many converters did you buy when you bought your 2ME, but that would be a really cool question to have you answer in the chat tonight. So my pet peeve is, where are the videos? Why didn't they add borders to an ATEM Extreme and Extreme ISO? Are they doing that because the technology inside those devices is too old? Can they make new models with it in them? Are they going to release something new this spring that we haven't heard about, that's in the works? Who knows? You never know with Blackmagic, and you never know once they announce it when it's going to be available for purchase. As far as I know, you still cannot get the 10G. What is that thing? Oops. What just happened? Let me look here. Where is that? can never remember. Anyway, they have a new 10G HyperDeck / Thunderbolt 4 device. And so you can come right out of a Mac or right out of a PC using Thunderbolt and then display things on the screen. It also has a 10G Ethernet port, so you could integrate it and be able to have a 10G networked device, do instant replay from it. That 10G media player isn't even available yet, as far as I can tell. When I reached out to Blackmagic Design back in late November, they had not released it yet. They didn't have a PDF guide to read about it, but they announced it almost a year ago. So you never know with Blackmagic Design when these devices are going to be available. Tony says, you're welcome. Hope it served intended purpose. And yes, it sure did. Thank you, David, for your, go check out David's channel. He plays keyboard on his channel. So if you're just looking for some great music to listen to while you're working in your studio, put his channel on in your studio. And he plays keyboard. He's a great piano player, keyboardist, and love his channel. So go over and subscribe to David's channel. While you have a chance, subscribe to Tony's channel. I don't think the 1ME has SuperSource. I could be wrong, though. You know, you're right. The 1ME does not have SuperSource. So let's go to the support page. Let's go to the ATEMs. Let's go to the 9.62 update here. Let's read the list one more time. The 1ME Constellation HD, it says it has the audio mapping, the support for Visca over IP, adds SuperSource Borders. So the ATEM 1ME HD, and I can never keep all these keep track of all of these. It might be, is it this new console? That's the Television Studio HD8. The 1ME Constellation HD, powerful 1ME live production switcher, including 10 standard converters, 3G SDI inputs, 6 3G SDI outputs, DVE, 4 chroma keyers, 16-way multi-view media player, talkback, USB webcam output. Yeah, I don't see SuperSource in the list, but I don't see SuperSource in the list for any of these devices. Am I missing that? Multi-view media player, talkback. I don't see that. So somewhere, and I heard that too, Tony, originally. I don't know if they've updated that device. There is the ATEM 1ME Constellation. ATEM Constellation family features HD models that have up to 40 inputs, 3G SDI, 4K models with 12G SDI, which each input featuring its own dedicated up and cross converter. That means it's possible to convert any 1080p input. That's cool. A different television standards. It's not talking about SuperSource here. But I seem to remember that that's true, Tony. I don't know if they've done any updates. Let's go down here to where they start talking about SuperSource. With 4K upstream chroma keyers per ME row, you get the perfect solution for building virtual sets with so many ATEM advanced chroma keys that you can use a keyer per camera to create a seamless composition of camera over the custom background. So I guess you have 2 DVEs, right, per per ME. So the 1 ME would be like my Extreme. I only have 2 MEs, but the 2 ME would have 4. So I don't know. I'm not finding it, but if anybody knows for sure, pop that in the chat. In addition to the DVEs in the ME rows, the 2 ME and the 4 ME models include powerful SuperSource. So yeah, that's right. It's right here. It says in the 2 ME and 4 ME. So I guess you don't have SuperSource, so it makes no sense to me why on the support page under, come on. I didn't click on that. I did. Okay, let's try this again. My PC is working really slow tonight. It's amazing that it's ATEM 1 ME Constellation HD. So these 3 devices add these features, and they actually added SuperSource Borders, which doesn't make any sense when it doesn't have SuperSource. So buyer beware, unless they've made an update. 1 ME Constellation 4K and 1 ME Constellation HD. It says it has SuperSource Borders, but again, I'm constantly learning, trying to figure things out with SuperSource and other devices. So, cool. Well, let me finish this chat here. Thank you so much, Tony. I thought I had a SuperSource in it. I thought that it had SuperSource in it. Yeah, I don't know. Only reason I say this is because I remember folks saying, yeah, it looks like it doesn't still on their website, Tony. So if anybody else knows anything different, does the 1 ME Constellation have SuperSource? It looks like it doesn't. So, okay, back to this layout. I want to talk about the audio page real quickly. I haven't spent much time on the audio page, but if you come down to the very bottom, you can learn more about the audio page in my video. But I want to do a little deeper dive tonight into some of the dynamics that are available. So keep in mind that these are single line input, stereo channels. They have, you can see a stereo right and left in my audio settings, so I don't want to change anything right here. But let's say you go into my HyperDeck and you double click, you have an EQ here, and the EQ has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bands. You can turn those on and off by clicking right here. And then you can go to whatever frequency you want, and you can even change the way you can adjust the frequency right here with these different choices. And then you can go up and down frequencies. And so let's say I want to do some cutting in 2. I can cut like this. I can change to a traditional cut and cut the frequency that way. Or I can adjust it up and down. Like this one, I can pull up and down. This one, I can change to the same and pull it up and down. So I can cut that frequency or raise that frequency. And then as I cut, I'm lowering the volume of the track. Here's unity gain right here. So if I bring anything above that number, I'm raising that frequency's volume. If I bring it down below, I'm lowering that frequency volume. So if I want to make my volume stay the same, and you notice the EQ in Blackmagic Design's software for audio does not include an input gain. All the other dynamic plugins do. So if we were to close the EQ real quickly, let me bring this back up. Let's close the EQ and let's open up the dynamic software. Each one of these has an input gain and an output gain, so you can see if you're affecting the volume. So the volume coming in, then you have the effect, and then the volume going out. You can compare input gain to output gain, and that's really important when you are adjusting these different dynamic processors. And there's 4 of those dynamic processors. So back to the EQ real quickly. So I want to bring the gain up. So if I cut all of these frequencies, then I want to adjust the gain to try to bring that volume back up. What I don't like about this particular EQ and a lot of EQs is they don't give you an input gain to be able to adjust the gain. Now I can move this over and I could be playing a video like Tony's video right here, and I can see my input gain right here and then adjust my output gain accordingly. But keep that in mind that there is no input gain meter on here so that you can see how much you need to raise the output gain. Right now I'm at 0, but with this cut, and this cut, and this cut, I am cutting the overall volume of that track, cutting out all of these lower frequencies. That's a high pass filter, and that's right here. And I can turn that high pass filter on or off. And again, it lets the highs pass, but it doesn't let the lows pass. That's why it's called a high pass filter. So I also kind of have a low pass filter on right here as well. And you can see I don't have it set that way. I could set it this way and be a traditional filter, but I didn't want to use that. I really wanted to use this, not that one, sorry, this one, to make this a little adjustment. Sometimes I'll use that to add a little shine to the high end of a track. But again, that's the EQ. So I've included a video in tonight's link that really talk about the difference between a limiter and a compressor. And let's open those up here. The difference between an expander and a gate, and a compressor and a limiter. The compressor and the limiter affect the top frequencies. In reality, they compress. Compressor can bring the top and the bottom down. I mean, the bottom comes up and the top comes down. The limiter cuts the top off. So a limiter and a compressor is very similar, but an expander and a gate are a little bit different on what they do. The gate affects the frequencies on the bottom. In fact, right now, if I didn't have the gate on, you would hear some audio artifacts. So let me go up here to my microphone. I'm gonna turn the gate off, and I'm gonna just listen to the silence. There's some buzz. Turn the gate back on and the buzz is gone. So the gates are used in a number of ways. They're used to stop some of those things that are in that noise shelf, which is the lower part of the audio. So every track could have a little bit of noise on the bottom, so the gate can cut that out. You can also use the gate to cut out, like if you're recording a snare drum and you don't want the hi-hat to bleed through, the hi-hat is further away from the microphone, so you can set the threshold so that the snare hit comes through, but you can use the gate to cut out some of the hi-hat sound or all of it. You can also use the gate to take a tom. So if you have a microphone on a tom, a drum tom, and it has a ring to it because it hasn't been tuned in a while, right? Then you can use the gate to actually let the hit of the tom come through, but then cut off the ring. As the ring starts to go down, you can use the threshold to cut out a lot of that ring sound. And so most people in a recording studio, most people in a live audio setting are going to use a gate on their drum kit because all those microphones are all together on one set. So you use the gate to get just the sound of that one thing to come through when you hit the cymbal or when you hit the hi-hat. And there's also the ability to take gates and have it key to another item. So it's listening for that item to turn on or off. So you can actually have that key only come on when you hit the hi-hat. So the tom is not going to get affected. So there's lots of ways that you can use a gate and lots of ways that you can use these dynamic processors. So you have an expander, you have a gate, you have a compressor, and you have a limiter all built in to every single channel in the audio page. And that's really important. So I'm not going to do much more deep dive into that, but I wanted to talk about this video that I linked in tonight's description because I love how he took a whiteboard and he talked about how the gate and the compressor affect a different part of the sound coming in from that track. And remember, if you're using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8, that audio would be coming through the HDMI or the SDI input on the back of your device. And if you're using mic 1 or mic 2, in an ATEM, it's that little 3.5 stereo input in the back. If it's an ATEM, Mini Pro ISO, Extreme or Extreme ISO, you have two. You have mic 1 and mic 2, and they're represented right here. And then you have your master track. And then if you have an ATEM Extreme or above, you actually have a headphone input as well. And you can control and solo all the headphones on the bottom. And you can see I could solo any one of these. But if I go into my ATEM Mini Pro control software, you're going to see that the headphone jack is grayed out. There is a headphone volume right here, but I can't do anything with it. It's grayed out, just like if I go into my ATEM Extreme ISO and I go to the art page, the border option is grayed out. I can't click here. And Tony couldn't click there either, he told me today, until he did the firmware update. Now, I can't do that firmware update to my ATEM Extreme ISOs because that's not available. That firmware does not update my ATEM Extreme or ATEM Extreme ISO, whatever you have, or the ATEM Mini Pro ISO. It only updates those consoles that have that feature built in. And now Tony has the ability to run that Borders on his SuperSource, but I can't. It is grayed out. And it's tempting to want it because I see it now every time I go in and make any adjustments in my control software. So it is a bummer I don't have that. So as you are working with an ATEM Mini Pro ISO, or an Extreme ISO, or the SDI models, or even the bigger consoles, understanding the power of the audio page is really important. In fact, mic input 1 and mic input 2 can either be line or mic input. So if you go back in here to the settings menu and you go up here to audio, over here to the general page, you can see I can change it from line to microphone or microphone with plug-in power. So if you're using a lapel mic and you're plugging the receiver into the back of your ATEM, you need to make a change in that software setting. If you're running out of an ATEM or a Rodecaster Pro into your ATEM mic 1 or mic 2 input, that's a line level. So you can see I have both of mine set to line level because I have two outputs coming in from my Rodecaster Pro going into my ATEM Extreme ISO. So keep that in mind when you are playing around with your ATEM, you understanding how the audio works and that you can use a gate to get rid of some of that sound. And maybe one of these nights in a live stream, we'll just work on a gate settings. And again, I made some changes on my gate tonight. So you guys are hearing a little bit different gating in this microphone tonight because I raised the volume, which means the noise came up. So I changed the settings in my gate, and those settings are right here under the gate. So you can see I have my range set at 18. I have my threshold set at -41. I have my attack at 7.7, my hold at 119, and my release at 101. Now I can change these to taste, but the range is really what you're going to change first to find the noise. So if I brought this all the way down, you guys will hear that crackling again if you listen very carefully. And if I bring it back up, the crackling should go away. And I'll set that back to 18. So again, the gate is designed to do a number of things, and you can turn it on and off just by clicking on it. So I could turn the compressor on. That compresses my audio. I could turn the limiter on. That keeps my audio from peaking because I can set a place for it to stop going any louder than that. And I also have an expander, and the expander will bring up the lower quieter audio in your track. So And I'll find this video. I really liked it today, and I'll close with this. It was a guitar track, and he was strumming with his pick in that same track. Then he would stop, set his pick down, and play just with his fingers, doing some picking, some plucking. And a pick sounds different than plucking, plus it gets quieter. The pick creates a louder strum, and the picking with your hand is quieter. So he was using a dynamic EQ to take out a couple frequencies. In a dynamic EQ, actually, you can have it dynamically lower the sound, the volume, in real time as those frequencies are trying to come up. But you can use a gate or an expander to bring up the picking sounds. So when you're strumming, the threshold won't affect anything, but when you're picking, the threshold will affect those lower sounds and bring the volume up. So a expander can be used on a soundtrack for a guitar person who's playing lead and then strumming a guitar. You could be using that gate in a live venue, or if you're mixing a recording in your studio, you could be using a gate to stop instrument bleed from other drum set microphones or sounds in the drum kit, or you could be using that gate to cut out noise, or you could be using an expander to bring up the lower audio. So there's a lot of things that you can do with these features in Blackmagic Design's audio page. And you have an EQ, 6-band EQ. You have lots of choices of how to use each one of those bands. Then you also have a expander, you have a gate, you have a compressor, and you have a limiter. And then you have on the master track over here, you have a limiter and a compressor. The expander and the gate are not available. So I'm on the master track. Again, I'll click over here on the master track. You do have an EQ on the master track. You can bring the volume up if you need to. You also have input and output gain on the compressor and the limiter. And you can see I have the compression on right now and the limiter on. And I have a makeup volume, and I have output meters and input meters. So again, I could even compress and limit my master track inside the ATEM control software. So that's it. I didn't really want to go any deeper dive into the audio page, but I don't get a chance to do a lot of videos here on my channel on the audio page. And I just thought it was really important to point out that you have some really cool features. Some of those new devices have the ability to do some really special things with audio. So go read very closely that 9.6.2 update. Because they've added new audio features, especially for producers who need to send out audio tracks from their ISO recordings to have them mastered. There's some things there. You can stereo those tracks. You can split those tracks. So I can take my camera one input and split it to a left and right. You can already do that in all the software. And how do you do that? Let's look at camera one right here real quick. I'm going to go up here to the audio page under split audio, and now watch input number one. Camera one has one track. Now if I hit this, I have two. So I have a left and right on camera one. So you can split all of them. You can split individual ones. And there's a number of reasons why you would want to do that. But we won't get into that tonight. So that's kind of a look at the audio page and some really cool features that are there. So do your research, watch that video here in the inputs. I also have a link to Tony's channel in the notes tonight. Again, thank you so much, Tony, for doing that demo. We really, really appreciate it. Let's catch up on the chat. Let's see here. The 1ME Constellation does have SuperSource capability. So it's interesting that that's obscure in their webpage. So good to know. He asked Chat GBT. Well, I guess that AI would know, hopefully. Now he's saying I actually sit corrected. Okay. So the L1ME doesn't have it. I'm catching up with the chat right now. Grish says the only issue with the gates is if you wear headphones, you can hear it cutting out. It's rather abrupt. Yeah, I know. I didn't get a chance to fine tune that tonight. So if I don't stay right on my microphone, and when I switch to my wireless microphone, I didn't listen to that. So it might be too abrupt. I apologize to that. The settings in the gate will affect how quickly that comes on and how quickly it releases. Let's say you wanted to have a little bit of the snare buzz in when you're setting your gate, then you would change the release settings or the hold settings. The hold basically says don't apply the gate for a few seconds. So it'd hear the hit, then it would a half a second or a millisecond or 2 milliseconds or 3 milliseconds, then it would apply the gate and cut off the buzz after that. So gates can squeeze off your audio from your microphone. So it's really important that when you have a gate on that you talk into your microphone. So I do realize that, Grish, and I will try to fine tune that for next week. I did correct the lighting in the studio for this week because Joe pointed that out. David says the ATEM 1ME Constellation does have 1 upstream keyer and 4 DVD channels, which allow for some level of picture-in-picture and layer effects. So yeah, so if it has 4 DVEs, you'd be able to use the background image and then be able to put all 4 DVEs on the air. So you would be able to virtually have SuperSource, and the DVEs in most of the devices already have a shadow available and a outline available. So if you do have a 1ME and it has 4 DVEs, then you would be able to do that. But I didn't read that on the web page as well. The 1ME only had 2 DVEs on their web page, so who knows? I'll have to dive deeper into the answers. I remember people talking about why the 1ME even exists. So yeah, I'm not really sure. My gate turned off when I switched scenes. Yeah, it could. Let's look. I'm sorry, that's EQ. Yeah, my gate's off. Hopefully that's not set in changing scenes. Let's go back to this. Gate's still on. Let's go to me and the logo. Gate's still on. Me and the laptop. Gate's still on. Not really sure why that's happening, but the gate is on right now, but it was off for a few seconds. So thank you for that. Let me go. Oh, is it going off when I switch on chat? Nope. Gate is still on when I switch on chat on the air. Okay. No, and that wasn't done on purpose. You're welcome. Thank you, Tony. So again, I have that. Oh, by the way, I have a poll up tonight. The poll says, are you using SuperSource now? Not right this second, but do you use SuperSource? 14 people have voted. 71% say yes, they're using SuperSource right now, and 29% say no. So I'm talking to a lot of you who are probably just as disappointed as I am, but we already know that Tony has the border feature available for his 2ME, and I wonder how many of you have 2MEs. So let me know. So if you haven't voted in the poll, please do so right now before I end it. So we are going to wrap it up here. It's been 1 hour and 45 minutes since we went live. I did start a couple minutes late tonight. But again, this is a big deal. SuperSource Borders available in some of those consoles. I think that's super cool. And also, I thought it was super cool tonight that, let me close these things. I know you guys can't see me right now. I think it was super cool that Tony was willing to help us tonight. So that's how you find Tony's channel. So go over to Quik Tech Solutions on YouTube and subscribe to Tony's channel. Hopefully we'll see the subscriber count go up tonight. If you have not subscribed, I really appreciate that Tony helped me with that demo video tonight. So if you came on late and you didn't see Tony's demo, Tony actually sent me a video today and demoed his 2ME and showed borders on and borders off in a 2-up layout. And hopefully in the future, we'll be able to have Tony demo a 4-box layout with borders on. That's really cool. So it was, so Grish is saying it was when you switched from a screen share of the ATEM to your logo, that's when the gate turned off. So let's see if my gate is still on right now. And it's still on. So, well, maybe one of those macros, Grish, does that. So, okay. So again, I told you guys I am adding more collections of my hats. I had that stack of hats I talked about at the beginning of the video. I got from each one of the ports on my Caribbean cruise with my wife, Shannon. It was an absolute blast. And she would really like to still be on vacation if she could. But we are home and we are back working. I'm semi-retired. She works pretty much full time. I have my consulting and my live stream and my channel, and I do some, I help different venues with audio now. I ran audio Sunday night, free, by the way, for a friend of mine. Same guy that's doing the tents has rented a building in Benton City. It's about 12, 13 minutes away from my house. And they are doing Sunday night events there. Same city that we took the tent to last year, the second time. And so now they're doing Sunday night events there, and going to do some work in Benton City, and I'm volunteering. So I've been running audio there. I take some of my gear. Some of it I don't have to take because we've got a bunch of things donated to that tent trailer. Got a new trailer donated. Cool stuff. Purchased a couple big double subs, JBL subs powered. So double 16 or double 18-inch subs. So 2 of those. So we'll use those outdoors now when we do the tent. I will not be probably using my my one single 18. It'll probably go into our second tent. So again, that's really cool that I have some time to do the audio stuff. And sometimes I get paid, sometimes I don't. We'll see what happens in the future. But right now, I'm just volunteering. So again, I have that. Do I still have that website open here? We're about to say goodnight, so stand by, guys. Again, I have the Johnny Depp, Jack Sparrow, Dead Men Tell No Tales figure from Hot Toys, 1/6 scale figure coming on Wednesday. I'm going to be doing a video with Dominic. We're going to launch our channel hopefully this year. We've been waiting for him to get a little older and a little bit more responsible, because I'm just going to be co-hosting that channel. It's going to eventually become his channel, but it's going to be called Bennett's Collectibles. And right now it's his parents' YouTube channel because he's only 13 years old. And then that channel will become his after he gets old enough. But we're going to unbox that and videotape it. And then sometime this year, we are going to release those videos. So if you'd like to see the Jack Sparrow here on the live stream, then let me know in the chat tonight, and I will bring him on and show him to you. He'll at least be seen on the shelf in my Skycams. But if you'd like me to bring Jack Sparrow in one of these live streams on the air so you guys can get a closer look, I would be happy to do that. You let me know. So borders are now available in SuperSource in the 9.6.2 update. Make sure you do the firmware update as well, because it will be grayed out if you don't update your 2ME. We'll do some research to see how you could use a 1ME, if it does or doesn't have SuperSource. According to the website, it doesn't, but we will see. So you can see in the update info what devices, get SuperSource Borders, and you can play around with that on your own, and you can dive deeper into the audio page of your ATEM control software, play around with the gate, play around with the expander, play around with the compressor, play around with the EQ, play around with the limiter, and see what those things do to your microphone. Get a video ready to play as well, so you can hear what it does to the video, because not every one of my live streams is audio only from this voice. Tonight we heard Tony through my HyperDeck, so it's really important that you know how to do that. And there's also lip delay, because remember, audio seems, if you're using a device coming through mic channel 1 or mic channel 2 input on your ATEM, the audio gets there faster than the video. So you need some lip sync delay on your lips, and that's available as well in the ATEM control software under the audio page. Right here under mic 1 and mic 2, I have 4 frames of delay. So I've delayed the audio 4 frames to let the video catch up. So you can see I have that adjusted right here. Here's 0. So you can see how lined up my lips are right now with no delay. Now I'll bring it back up, frames of delay. And here is my lip sync with 4 frames of delay. Again, I've delayed the audio by 1, 2, 3, 4 frames to let it stop long enough to catch up my lips to it. And so that's available right here for both channels. You just click right here and this little dial comes up for channel 2. Click right here in that window for this dial to come up for mic channel number 1. So again, there is a lot of options inside the audio page for the Blackmagic Design software control. So go in there and check that out. And maybe you have never used your Extreme headphone input. Maybe you've never soloed the individual channels. So you can do that right now, tonight, and play with it. Or you can go over and check out TVJ's live stream that's going to be starting here very soon. So we need to get off the air so you guys can jump over to Jay's live stream. So that's it for me tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining me once again. If you haven't had a chance yet to check out part 1 or my HyperDeck series, get over there and check that out. I don't know why this is not working right now. I can't drag and drop anything into my laptop. Is it the mouse? Maybe it's my mouse. There we go. If you haven't checked out, if you haven't checked out part 1 of my ATEM Mini Extreme ISO getting started, it's here on the channel. I have officially now released part 2. So go over and check those out. They are available right now on my page. Part 2 has been out for a couple days, and part 1 has been out for over a month and a half. Both of them were recorded in November and December. Part 2 has my holiday set in it. So go check that out. You can see it's the 28th of January. So those of you that are with me live tonight, you can go learn more about the ATEM Extreme ISO and the SDI ISO by watching that page and learning more about the different features that are available, including how to do layouts with foreground images and background images using your picture-in-pictures available in the ATEM Extreme ISO. So you could put borders or you can put shadows behind them. So I demo that in part 2. So go check those out. They are long and they have chapter markers in them. So go to the section that you want to learn, and that's all free. I hope that you will be you'll be educated by watching those. And there's a lot of people that paid for consultations with me that would have loved those videos to be available. So I'm just doing that free to throw it out there. But again, if you need to have a free consult with me because you're stuck knowing how to do something, then click on the little link in my description tonight. Click on Tony's link in the description tonight and check out that video on the difference between limiters and compressors and expanders and gates. That video is not from my channel, it's from someone else's channel, and that link is in the description as well. So thank you guys so much. Extreme ISO, that's perfect video, David, for you. Part 1 and part 2 is a deep dive on how to get more out of those devices. And I agree with you, MixEffect by ATEM is a great tool, and we will be talking more about MixEffect in the weeks to come, I assure you, and some really cool features. And I'm going to break out my wife's Mac iPad Pro and tricked out that she inherited, and we will show you what you can do with that device here in the studio in one of the upcoming live streams. So again, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you for being in the chat and hanging out with me tonight. I hope you'll check out videos on my channel. If you haven't hit the like, please hit the like. And if you're listening and you haven't subscribed, you can't chat without subscribing. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button and chat with us on Tuesdays, 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And when the daylight savings times change, you guys will have to figure out what 4 o'clock means here in Washington as we move our clocks around. So again, I am Keith. This is Life Journey Production Studios. Thank you again for joining me tonight, and I hope to see you right here in the next video. And before you leave tonight, please hit the like button. It really will help get this video out, and someone out there can figure out how and what devices have SuperSource Borders by watching this video. So until next time, be safe.